Tesla's primary goal is, and has always been, to accelerate the transition away from fossil fuels and onto clean, renewable energy, both in terms of what we use to power our transportation, but also in what we use to power our homes. Everything else has, for the most part, been secondary to this goal. To prove how serious it was about such a shift, Tesla famously announced back in June 2014 that it would make all of its electric vehicle patents open source, making them available to other automakers and academic institutions in, quote, good faith. The reality of Tesla's open source patent pledge was a little more complicated, since there were some restrictions as to who could use Tesla's patents, as well as things governing the right to sue Tesla for patent infringement or any form of intellectual property infringement, and the company needing to agree not to sue any company anywhere in the world for patent infringement relating to electric vehicle technology, even if it was its own patents, if it used Tesla technology. In other words, Tesla wanted companies that worked with it to have the same open source attitude to patents in order to use its patents, while at the same time ensuring that any company that used its own technology didn't create a product that suggested an association with or endorsement from Tesla. Something kind of tough if it was following supercharger protocols. Nevertheless, Tesla's open source pledge and the fact that most people didn't dig into the terms and conditions of it has meant that many people assumed Tesla was more worried about getting cars on the road than it was protecting its intellectual property. And that seemed to be the case. So why then has Tesla just sued some of its former employees and a couple of different companies this week for what amounts to industrial espionage? Simply put, it's all to do with the stealing of source code and other valuable proprietary information that Tesla alleges is being stolen in order to copy its work or compete against the company. I should point out at this point that I'm not a lawyer, nor do I purport to be, and for now all I have to go on here are the 2 court filings made, which are, for the course, made by Tesla and thus are naturally going to focus on Tesla's side of events. I should also note that while these 2 court cases have already got a decent amount of coverage online, we currently only have one side to go on, so this report is not as comprehensive as I'd like to be. And that's not saying I defend the people that Tesla is suing, because I'm not. With that all in mind, let's delve into this a little more. The first lawsuit I'm going to look at is the US startup Zoo, which Tesla alleges 4 of its former employees, who then went on to work at Zoo, quote, absconded with select proprietary Tesla documents useful to their new employer, and at least one of them used Tesla's confidential information to target other Tesla employees for hiring by Zoo. The information Tesla says was stolen included information on its warehousing, logistics and inventory control, otherwise known as Warp. Tesla says Zoo used this to leapfrog the company in developing its own autonomous vehicles, although news outlets over the past few years have reported former Tesla employees as bemoaning the actual effectiveness and completeness of the Warp system. The filing made by Tesla against Zoo also details how a former Tesla employee accidentally sent a modified version of a Tesla document to a fellow Zoo employee who was also a former Tesla employee, but mistakenly sent it to said employee's former Tesla email address. This, it says, is how it uncovered the misdeeds. The second court case is not against a US company, but rather Chinese electric car startup XPeng Motors. Tesla alleges that the company, which was founded in 2014 as a direct consequence of Tesla open sourcing its patents, went far beyond using the patents and intentionally ripped off Tesla technology, using a former Tesla employee to steal Tesla's entire codebase for autopilot. It also alleges the company recruited other former Tesla employees to join the firm. It cites evidence of a private iMessage between one of the accused engineers and his wife, in which the wife referred to a job offer from XPeng Motors. While the company itself has always been pretty open about how it's used Tesla's patents to build its own take on Tesla, an all-electric SUV in one case, its similarities to Tesla are so obvious that it's hardly surprising Tesla is taking action. Will Tesla succeed? Well, that depends. Tesla has a pretty strong legal department, and it's not afraid of calling out those who it feels have inappropriately obtained its technology. As I've said, I'm not a lawyer, but Tesla does appear to have a strong case in both instances. if it can prove industrial espionage took place designed to cause it harm. In the past, Tesla has filed court cases against employees and rival companies for similar behaviour, usually settling out of court rather than going through the process. It's not clear if this will happen in these two cases. What is curious, though, is that the court cases come at points where both of the companies being sued were fresh off making some pretty big announcement. XPeng announced just a few days ago that it was turning on 30 supercharger stations across China in one day, followed the very next by an announcement that it would be premiering its next production EV at the Shanghai Auto Show, a car that it openly said would rival the Tesla Model 3. Meanwhile, Zhu has just completed a series of interviews and demonstrations of its own technology after announcing a search for its next major round of funding. Again, coverage of this occurred just a few days ago. While it's unlikely Tesla decided to sue just because of the coverage, the two cases will certainly do no good to either of these two companies. Instead, it shows exactly why you shouldn't mess with a company that is known for not pulling any punches when it feels it's been wronged. Is Tesla in the right? Well, right now it certainly appears that way, although, as I've said, I don't have all the evidence. If the allegations are true, then those accused deserve to have some consequences. But since one of those companies is in China, it's not clear just how much punishment can be meted from afar. Whatever happens, however, one thing is clear. Tesla may have made open source pledges on its technology, but it doesn't mean that it's a free-for-all. That's it. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.